Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
John, for what we do, we're in the business of giving opinions. Now, we try to give opinions and make sure that other people's opinions still matter. I think that's what gets a little convoluted, I think, in conversations these days, is opinion is given as fact instead of actually opinion. But do have to ask your opinion on the Cavs-Knicks series. Cavs back in the playoffs. First time since 2018. Lose at home. Just Cavs playoff history over the last 2 decades. You felt like being at home, you should win game 1. But this is a whole different group of players trying to learn as they go, learn lessons, and still have success. What were your thoughts, kind of that difference between game 1 and game 2, and how important was it for this team to have that performance last night?
Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes you think that momentum can move from game 1 to game 2, and what happened in that first game really is going to set the tone for what will happen in game 2. Well, early on in game 2, we saw a little of what went on in game 1, but then the way Darius came out on fire with so much confidence, and the way the Knicks ran people at Donovan and had 2-3 guys around him a lot, he adjusted his game, and it was just a beautiful thing to see. I thought it was a come-of-age moment in some ways for Darius. He showed a great deal of confidence with the basketball. I know in the first game they would run the secondary defender at him that was a long defender and made him a bit skittish, if you will. I still remember Butch Davis calling the quarterback skittish, but that's a few years ago. But it did make him skittish. And but then in the second in the Tuesday night affair, he was releasing shots from 3-point land before they could come to him. He just looked so confident. And Donovan Mitchell, everybody would say, "Oh, the guy's just a scorer." I totally disagree with that. He was happy to play second fiddle. And in some ways, he did play second fiddle, and Karis LeVert did as well with his great performance. I just thought it was a great bounce back time, and great to see the energy at the field house and making some of people that were there. I was not there last night. I was watching on the tube, making some people say that it did feel like the energy that you had back in the LeBron playoff years. But they played a little bully basketball, which I think they need to do against the Knicks. So it's going to be fun to see what happens. I got a feeling they're going to come back to Cleveland at 2-2, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, it's always important to get one when you go into a series like this, to get one on the road. And LeBron always talked about he loved going on the road because he wants to silence. He loves hearing that silent arena when you go on the road. Now, of course, we do switch over to game 3. They go to what is considered the Mecca of basketball, Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are going to make their adjustments. That didn't seem like they made too many from game 1 to game 2. How does this team go on the road and learn the lesson of what it's like to play a playoff game on the road, but not suffer that first loss like they did in game 1? How can they maybe use momentum and take game 3, the more important, I would say, of the 2 games, with a quicker turnaround from game 3 to game 4?
Well, I think first of all, I think Donovan's going to come out in game 3 and just do what we saw when he scored in the 40s in some games this past year, and he had a lot of 40-point games, to be honest with you. So I really expect him to come out in New York with, as you mentioned, the huge stage that is MSG, and to show the basketball world why he is an all-NBA talent and why he can take a young team that's still learning how to win, take them on his shoulders, and push them to a victory in game 3. And I think it was a great acquisition. It's been fun to watch him play. It's been fun to see how they really are an unselfish basketball team. JB did a great job setting the culture there with them. And but they're still going to have to grow up. All of them are going to have to grow up on the road in a very difficult place to play basketball, with the star-studded fans that come to watch the Knicks play, with the media There, I know Stephen A. Will be lilting his eyelashes at his beloved Knicks during the course of this game, and I look forward to it. But it will be a kind of come of age moment for a lot of these young Cavaliers if they can go to the Garden and play solid basketball and make a statement. That was fun the other night because it really I remember so many of those playoff games where they would take a lead of 20 and you just felt that there was no way, the way they were playing, that they were going to have this thing in danger. And it really wasn't even the case last night. I thought the Knicks got it down to like 15 or something. Then they hit a couple of threes, pushed it out. Danny Green, there was an interesting use of, here's a guy that's been there, has won a couple of rings, certainly can be effective with the three-point shot. And early on in that game, Okoro got those 2 fouls. And so, he's out of the game. What if LeVert does not come in and isn't hot, or Darius didn't have his type of game and it was grinding down to more of a defensive affair? We might have seen more of Isaac Okoro. But correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he sniffed the court after he was taken out early.
No,
they went another direction, which was a good direction and smart coaching on JB's part to go with the other guys as opposed to stick Isaac back in there.
Now, a lot has been made from the mainly New York fans about the last play with Jared Allen fouling their player when he went to the Randall, and they were saying it was a hard foul, he should be suspended, and making a big deal of it. That's them saying this is playoff basketball. I don't care if I'm up 20, if I'm up 1. We ain't taking a playoff, like not one. And I loved it because I'm not going to lie. In that third quarter, when I see that 20-point lead, my big worry is I'm going to get complacent. Oh, we got this in the bag. And you see these teams come back, and then when they chip away at that, once they gain that lead over a huge lead, it's a monster of a momentum shift, and teams just can't overcome those. And we didn't do that this time. We kept our foot on the brakes, not the brakes, on the gas.
This team has been a team to do that, too.
Yes,
this young team has been a team to do that, to get big leads this year and let teams get back into it and put themselves in dangerous spots too often.
So what was your thought on that play?
Well, first of all, I didn't think there's anything out of the ordinary, and I'm all for a young player of his caliber making a signature kind of a foul, just to keep things going into the next game and to keep that. We're playing bully ball right now, and we bullied you all over the floor tonight. And our sharpshooting young guard had a great night. Karis LeVert had an outstanding evening, and Donovan was Mr. Assist guy. Everything was working on all cylinders, and I think the way they were aggressive on the defensive end and blocking out and getting to the boards and doing the way they did, I just think you play that well right to the end, and that's what happened. And I don't think anything will carry over for it, other than the Cavs just having that mentality that we mean business. We've got an opportunity to go up 2-1 on Friday night, and by God, we're going to go out there and get it done.
Last question on last night's game and this series. I think, we talked about that play, and you don't want to see anybody get hurt. But do you buy into, you don't want a team, as much as you're beating them down in just one game, in a series like that where you have to see them in the very next game? Do you buy into, that's a type of play where you don't want them to gain any sort of momentum or confidence going into it? They have to find that in their film work instead of what they did on the floor.
Well, this will be all up to how Tibbs does his job and alters his look at how they come out in Game 3, and whether or not he can do more things to allow Brunson to have a better game, who did not have that great of a game in Game 2. So I think it's on Thibodeau and how he's able to get the Knicks up for this game. But I didn't have a problem with that. I know there's the worry that if you bark at the monster's going to come out and get you on the next time around. I don't think there's any concern about that, but it will be a raucous atmosphere. It will be something that some of these guys, certainly have not experienced, especially on a playoff level. So we'll see what they're made of. And they've got, I look at it, 2 chances to win one game in the next couple, bring it back to Cleveland, and then take the take the advantage and get things done in this series the best that they can. I'm looking forward to Friday night. It's going to be fun to watch.
I'm so pumped.
It's going to be so much fun. We know that New York knows the game of basketball, and they're going to, they're going to show up because they've been looking for playoff basketball, and they don't like how easily they went out of last year's playoffs. So they think that they have the Cavs right where they want them, and they definitely want to take Game 3 and take the games at home. So the Cavs need to be ready and grow up very quickly in those circumstances.